When it comes to gaming culture, there have been only a small few that have shaped it into what it is today, and I don't think it would be very controversial of me to say that Valve has contributed quite a lot to that culture. Half-Life, Counter-Strike, and Portal are all timeless games, still enjoyed by millions. But when talking about culture, I think that Team Fortress 2 has had the biggest and longest lasting impact that any single game has had ever. Which is why it pains me to see the game in the sorry state that it's in and has been in for quite some time. When I initially sat down to record, I thought I would make this big elaborate bit about the PvE game mode man versus machine pulling a fast one on us and invading the rest of the game, but given the seriousness of the issue at hand, I do think it would be in poor taste. I'm sure many of you are already aware of this situation, but TF2 is struggling with a plague of bots. Essentially what's been happening is that whenever you join a casual lobby, there's a 10-to-1 chance that the whole server will be filled to the brim with aimbotting sniper bots that will instantly kill you the moment that you step out of spawn and into their sights. And let me be clear, players that abuse cheating software will always exist, and it's something that pretty much every online game ever will have to deal with at some point or another. But at the very least, there's a person behind the screen. I'm not condoning it, but with the bots, it's fully automated, with the sole purpose of ruining everyone else's fun, and recently, allegedly doxing them. Yeah, as if making casual mode completely unplayable wasn't bad enough, the bots have been pasting hate speech and slurs into the chat, as well as in comms. But also doxing players unlucky enough to be in the same server as them, posting full addresses and the like. So not only is playing on Valve's official servers an unfun experience, it's also an active threat to your safety. It's so bad to the point where I find myself playing almost exclusively on community servers, which don't have this issue since many of them have custom maps that bots wouldn't be able to navigate, but also they usually have their own moderation so they don't rely on the vote kick system, which can be abused by the bots themselves to kick real players. But even if you do happen to get lucky and find yourself in a casual lobby where bots are not the majority, you still have to spend more than half the match trying to kick them before more show up. It doesn't help that there's a minute cooldown on kicking, which I do understand the necessity of, because if there wasn't a cooldown, then the bots would have vote kicks running on everyone else before anyone else would have the chance to. And throughout all this, the only way to deal with the bots while playing is to have a bunch of medics using the vaccinator to maybe, just maybe, have a small chance of killing the bot before it kills you. Now, any reasonable person would sit here and think that it's a drop in the bucket, or has been already swiftly dealt with by the iron fist that is the insanely wealthy and successful Valve Corporation. But no. In fact, the issue has been largely ignored for a really long time. And to an extent, I get it. TF2 is over a decade and a half old, and as popular as it might have been, Valve has moved on, abandoning the archaic old engine that the game runs on to pursue bigger and better things while leaving the game on maintenance mode for the hardcore dedicated players who want to keep playing. Cultural behemoth or not, Valve has no obligation to keep Team Fortress 2 playable, is what I would have said if Valve wasn't still making a ton of money from loot box sales. Listen, I don't know the first thing about running a company, but I'm pretty confident that if you're selling a product, then it has to, at the very least, be safe to use. I've accepted the fact that TF2 will likely never have another major update, and I'm perfectly content with that fact. It's in a current state that it's still incredibly fun to play, and even in maintenance mode, TF2 is still a masterclass in the shooter space. But selling microtransactions to a game that players cannot even play on your official servers is negligence at best and morally dubious at worst. And to make that specifically worse, Valve arguably isn't even earning the money that they're making themselves, as all of the cosmetics and maps that have been added since Jungle Inferno were largely community made. So once again, the absolute bare minimum should be to keep the servers running safely, but that hasn't been happening. But I'm not blind to the fact that on a technical level, this is probably a very difficult task. Valve's anti-cheat, VAC, is over a decade old. Technology has moved way past it, so I'm sure there would be some difficulty trying to catch up that old code to modern standards. But this is Valve we're talking about, the people who rake in billions from Steam each year. I'm sure they could figure it out or hire someone who can. I mean, they already have the community making all of the new content. I'm sure someone in the community would have a solution to the bots. Now, to some of you, this all might sound very familiar, as in 2022, the Save TF2 hashtag did gain a lot of traction and even got a response from the official TF2 Twitter account, which was previously inactive, stating, "TF2 community, we hear you. We love the game and know you do too. We see how large this issue has become and are working to improve things." Which, that was cool and was confirmation that Valve knew there was a problem. It was something, which was more than we had gotten before. But nothing got fixed. I remember the bots slowed down at the time, but they were still there, and they're still here now, and arguably worse than ever. The pessimistic side of me thinks that Valve won't do anything. Just continue on like they have been for years. Maybe another tweet just to shut us all up, but ultimately nothing would be fixed. I'm sure they know that the player count on Steam charts is vastly inflated by the bots, and I think they might know it's a waste of time and money to support such an old game, to get it up to speed and continue to keep it running that way, when, yeah, sure, they're making money off of TF2, but it's no longer even close to their highest earner. And it's sad to think that the same company who made the first PC game that I ever played, and arguably one of the best ones ever made, would just let it limp along until it's finally dead and nothing more than history. I don't want that. However, on the more optimistic side of things, there's part of me that's saying that Valve is going to do something drastic, and there are other outside factors that make me think this. Have you heard of the absolute massive win that Activision Blizzard got over the company that was making and selling cheat software for Call of Duty? A company sued a bunch of cheat makers for a video game and won. Sure, it didn't solve the problem entirely, but it did put the fear of God into the hearts of the people who made them. And I don't think it's a stretch to say that Valve could easily do the exact same thing to the people making and hosting the bots that are filling these lobbies. Hell, there is a small, teeny-weeny, microscopic chance that we'll wake up to the Counter-Strike treatment for TF2, porting the whole game over to the new and improved Source 2 engine, which would not only reset the script for the bots, but would also make it much easier to work with and patch the game since it's on newer hardware. Plus, there's also what the community is doing right now. We all saw what happened with Helldivers. We all got a massive victory over Sony and the whole PSN account stuff, because the players took matter in their own hands and review bombed the game to hell to make their voices heard. The TF2 community is currently doing the same thing right now. It's a risk, and it hurts to see this happening to a game I love, but if it yields any kind of change, then it would be well worth it. And this is one of the things that you can do to help. If you're tired of the bots and you want to see Valve do something to cure TF2 of the cancer that are these bots, then let your voice be heard. Write a review. Tell them what you think. You can even join the Save TF2 petition online, which I will be linking in the description below. I am not going to sit here and pretend that TF2 is my all-time favorite game of all time, or that I play it every day, because I don't. Me and my friends occasionally pop in to do some stupid strategies every now and then, but even so, I hate seeing such an important game in the industry be left to rot in the way that it has. And it's a game that deserves to keep going for as long as there are people on the internet playing it. I think Valve needs to step up and do something. We aren't asking for the heavy update, we aren't asking it to be put up as a top priority, but what we are asking is that you fix the game so people can play it without having to deal with the bots and all of the stuff that comes with it. Thank you for watching. Once again, I am going to be linking the Save TF2 petition in the description below, so if you want to support the cause, that is an easy way to do it. This was a bit of an unscripted video. I felt like there was an injustice that doesn't need to be happening to a game that I really enjoy, so I just wanted to spread awareness.